Hello, good evening. Today is Sunday, is it? Yeah, March 15th. And I'm back here on YouTube to post the second weekly forecast. That is for 16th to the 20th. That is this coming Monday to Friday. Well, I wouldn't want to take much of your time. So, this is Simon. Welcome to Free Value FX Weekly Forecast, and let's get to it. Now, if I remember clearly, we had observed so many pairs last week, and it was a very, very long video. That's why I'm insisting now that I don't want to take much of your time. But, for knowledge's sake, because I hinted on a few things, I re-explained some stuff in the video, you could click back and check the video. I think the link will display on the screen right about now, and you could use it to review, learn a few things and then understand my thought process. But mostly the things that I'm going to talk about today are focused for next week and more of like a continuation from what I said previous week. So I'm going to start with the recap, and with the recap I'm just going to brush through the setups as quick as I can. So we said the dollar would, fall into the fair value gap and either buy off, or maybe the fair value gap would fail as seen in this structure. So considering the green is the buy and the red is the sell, it actually played out well, to be fair. Price went and tapped this region here and then came all the way into fair value gap, as you can see in this point, and then it skyrocketed. Now we have a new bias for this, but as you can see, it's just above this swing highs right there. So this could tell me one thing, which I'll talk about when I'll be talking about the forecast, because this is just the recap section. Not only that, we said gold would respect or disrespect the fair value gap. As you can see, I pressed my alerts there. I didn't take any trades this week because I was busy trying to balance med school, and Forex is not a joke. But I was just happy to see that this setup played out, not in this direction of course, but in this one. Not only that, silver as well. Silver, I had a slightly different bias, but since it goes the same way with gold, I expected it to sell. So we had like 3 sell days. Yeah, with USDCHF, this was a beautiful one, because I remember explaining how important. Let's see. No, let me cut up until there. Yeah, good. So I remember explaining how important we are in between these two zones of fair value gaps and everything, with the red being a bearish fair value gap and this being a bullish fair value gap. But since and we also marked the swing low. This was Friday, the upper week, like the 2 weeks back. So we said the point of focus would be the swing low. If we get a sweep, which actually we did, so this idea failed, but the buy worked. We got a sweep on Tuesday, and the sweep pushed price all the way like that. Beautiful setup. And not only that, the New Zealand dollar, well, not so much, but ideally we are in the what's it called? We are in the bullish fair value gap, so we'll know what to talk about when it comes to the the forecast. And AUD USD, not so much movement, still stuck in a fair value gap, in the consolidation range. Sorry, this was also beautiful. I actually posted the setup that I took on this one. Let me just show you the 15-minute. So I had a bias, and I said if we get a sweep at the 4-hour right there, so we would buy. So immediately on daily open, we got a sweep, and we bought, of course. But seeing this now and how the candle has played out, we think, oh, maybe this guy got a loss. No, I did not get a loss. I took it early. I took my trade early, just right about here. I'll show you in a moment. So as I said, time frame alignment is important. I saw a gap. I saw a fading fair value gap. Let me do this. I saw a swing point, this point here. I saw a fading fair value gap in this red candle right there. I'll give you a moment to observe. And then this indicates a clear sweep. So this clear sweep was enough during Monday to give me a good buy signal. I took a 1 to 2 demo, just a demo, nothing real there. And yeah, I managed to make some bank. Let me just show you. I broke down the, my trade idea in small notes. Yeah, so this was like a 1 to 2, which is not bad. If I observed it earlier, I would have taken the trade right here because there were a couple of fading fair value gaps right here, also here. So this would have been one trade. This would have been the second trade all the way to this target, and this would also be the third trade. So USD was good, but only for a short time because it tanked because the dollar increased strength. And yeah, moving on, we had UJ because I had my eyes on UJ fully, and yeah, we saw UJ being completely bullish for the week as expected. Bullish as expected. So we had it respond from the fair value gap right there, and it strongly pushed up. It ended the week like that. Started off strong but got a pullback, and then it went like that. This tells us something which we'll talk about in the forecast. Dow Jones, wow, Dow Jones was also great. We see beautiful response from a bearish fair value gap. So we expected a bullish idea from Dow Jones, but I think things didn't turn out as well from the major world powers and stuff. I don't understand much concerning stocks and everything. I just look at my fair value gaps and see if I get a setup or not. So yeah, there was a bearish fair value gap right there, which we would have used to sell downwards in response to this bullish fair value gap, which we went with upwards. These are things that I like to see actually. When one fair value gap causes the response of another fair value gap. Yeah, so a lot happened here. I like this chart. Maybe we could see push towards this low, but that will be after we break this swing low right there. And Bitcoin, yeah, we saw some fading fair value gaps. We saw Bitcoin starting to get strength, but not so much. I could just term all of this as consolidation, really. Yeah, so same as Ethereum as well. And miners like CAD-CHF. So I expected price to get in the fair value gap first before shooting above, but it did not do that. It started off by a sweep from this side, but the sweep was a fake out. So yeah, I didn't see any setups here. Euro CHF kind of just left them on the mud, just like that. And ADES. So the point was later on I came to check and I realized there was a fair value gap, but in real sense it was of no significance. So I was just observing if this fair value gap would play out by the end of the week so that we can get more price action upwards. We'll talk about it in the forecast, or maybe I'll skip it, who knows. Yeah, so that's basically it for the recap. Now back to square one. Let's talk about the future. Just take this out and then we see. Oh, not blocked. Yeah, so we have a response from this fair value gap, though a weak one, but it's still a response. We have successfully broken above. Wait, same as chart. Good. We have successfully broken above this swing high right here, though slightly, but we broke above it. So this is what I'm going to do. Zoom out, observe the weekly. Quickly, so I can save everybody's time. So in the weekly, 100 is a point of focus. I just mark it. Bam, we have, this point here, 100. a very good resistance point. Price tapped a couple times, pushed back, but now we have a slight, mark my words, a slight close above. Now this slight close above would mean the following. We would get two reactions. Either for the next week, a continuous push above from this point all the way to here, so that is a buy, and then subjectively maybe a sweep from that, a run of the point all the way like that and continue. Or this would just be, another, another set of like fake outs that the dollar does, trying to respect the 100 zone, and from that point just continue lower like that and dump or consolidate. So still no significant ideation yet until market resumes. But if I go to the daily, I would see that this push up, let me just take this out, it's confusing. This push above that we see, right now is a good sign, especially since we just broke from this swing high right there. So maybe if we get a pullback to that point, to this point here, and then we go, that would be good. This is also a fair value gap. This is also a fair value gap right here. We could get into this fair value gap and then go. That's also good. We would consolidate at this point and then create a beautiful fair value gap to push price above. That is also good. What does that tell me from the dollar perspective? And since now, America is tied highly into this conflict, we would maybe expect the dollar to increase in strength, based on what side is actually benefiting from the war, or decrease in strength if the economy seems to be shaken much from the effects of the war. Do I have a conclusive guess? No, I'll just look for my fair value gaps and then, or my swing points like that, and then use them. In this point, this swing point has been run, so I would expect a buy. If I want to get a buy, I would just wait for a slight pullback into fair value gaps in this. And what I mean by that is in the 4 hour we would have, I didn't see that. So see, we got a break, beautiful break, fair value gaps being respected as we go up. We see this fair value gap here being respected beautifully. That's good. So maybe if we get a respect from this fair value gap, we'll keep going up, and the disrespect from this fair value gap would lead us all the way back to this point here. We will see. So whatever happens in the whatever happens in the dollar would happen in other pairs actually. So pairs that have the dollar base like that. So if we go and let's say observe the UJ, for example, for starters, see the daily, UJ would tell me the same thing. See, we have a run of a key swing high, and it is also slight. So I'll still observe, I'll wait. We have a fair value gap right here, tiny, yes, but it's a fair value gap which we can use. So I would wait to see what happens in the middle of the week. Of course, I'll try to be as transparent as possible and update you on any moves that happen in the middle of the week, so we can see. Maybe this tiny run would, have the strength to keep going up, or this tiny run would push price into this fair value gap and then go up, just like what happened here. But we'll see. For Euro USD, we already saw a beautiful break, a strong break from this swing low right there. Now, this is when currency strength comes in, because ideally you would expect the yen to be quite strong, whatever, compared to the dollar, or the euro to be quite stronger than the dollar. But in this case, because of the tensions of the big powers in the country happening, the euro is losing its strength. That is why you have a strong break here and a weaker break here. You understand? All in all, these are all breaks. Now, this break would be more evident and powerful for me if it would have happened for both of the swing lows, as in that one and this one. You understand? So as of now, we have a short distance and a very, very key low to observe, which is this point there. So if price breaks this low, we would be going as low as, these swings, as you can see, maybe this one, or ultimately this one. They're all lows. We don't know that. Maybe it will happen, maybe it will not. But my safest bet is to wait for this low to be broken, and then we shall see. But this was a very, very beautiful close below the lows, which is an indication for a sell. If I had observed this trade on Thursday, I would have sold throughout Friday and maybe made back. But after I was too busy, as I said, so I didn't have much time at the charts. AUD USD. Now AUD USD. Oh, this is too much of a zoom. AUD USD is good, ideally, only because we have a failing fair value gap right there. Would I take this trade? No, absolutely not. For next week, because I don't know what is going to happen next week. All I'm seeing now is for last week, if I was keen on the charts, I would have observed this failed fair value gap and sold for the whole of Friday, which was good. But overall, this is still a consolidating chart, and I wouldn't want to touch anything about it. However, if setups show themselves regarding the week that is starting, then I'll update and let you know via pictures. Yeah, so pay attention to that as well. Same applied to the New Zealand dollar, which now this would be more interesting for me. Why? Because, as I said, I'm just waiting for fair value gaps, and then I see what will happen later on from those fair value gaps. So in this case, we have New Zealand dollar coming in strongly into this daily fair value gap. Strongly. We have a huge bearish leg dumping, so you cannot just call bottom and say it will buy. We have to see what happens here. Remember, beautiful fair value gap is the one that has a wick into. The ones that have bodies in are sort of weak. So for me, I would expect, since we have this, maybe price would keep going down all the way to this low here. So this low would be my point of focus, this swing low here. So as of the start of next week, I am actually expecting the New Zealand dollar to keep selling. Yeah, to keep selling. Only because of this weak response from this fair value gap. Yeah, so I'm expecting it to sell, and it will sell up to that level. That is my expectation. And then from this level, maybe if we get a sweep or a run, and then ultimately we will, enter this fair value gap or come to this swing low. The USD Sheffy had a huge return from that bullish swing low, as seen right there. It was beautiful, a beautiful sweep. 4 days of bullish momentum would have, paid some people's tuition fees or whatever. But as I said, I didn't take these trades. Very busy week. Won't talk much about it. What am I expecting now? Let me just pull up the weekly and clear everything and start afresh for the Sheffy, because in the weekly, I'm seeing a rejection high being disrespected, not just once but twice. You understand? This would be your new rejection high, this one. Bam. We have this fair value gap there, the clustered box. That was from the daily, is okay. This daily fair value gap pushed price all the way above this rejection high. So now I have two scenarios. We could keep buying, which is highly evident because, we closed above this rejection high. So we could keep buying all the way towards these highs there. Or we could just sell or consolidate. That's the thing. But I'm leaning heavily on the buys. We could keep consolidating like that from this point and just keep going, staying at this range, because for a number of days now, Chef has been doing that. Maybe we're waiting for a new month to start, and then we get better news potentially, and then we see changes like that. Moving on to metals, as I said, metals responded very well from the fair value gap in question, particularly gold. We had a clean. See, this is what I'm talking about. Let me just mark it. This is what I talk about. See how, let me even zoom. I like this. See how it has wicked into the gap like that, pop and left, and proceeded to be as bearish as possible for the rest of the week. That is what we looked for. In the previous video, I said we could get first a response into the gap and then come all the way towards this low. So now that we are at these lows, we will also observe the following. We'll get a sweep, then come back and then maintain consolidation, because still tense in the geopolitics. We have Iran opposing the Americans. We have the whole oil situation. Oil is such a major product in today's economy. It runs everything from cars to airplanes. So having such a commodity being fought over huge powers in the world would cause a tilt from the economy, and gold would respond beautifully if it was connected 100%. But we see it not truly connected. That is why we see this happen. Some sort of consolidation or a sell-off. Yeah. So I would definitely wait for the sweep from the swing high, from the swing low, and this sweep will lead us all the way back and maintain its consolidation or a run. So if I was to draw with my pen tool, I would just do this. I would just take a path tool, and maybe if we see a sweep, then maintain consolidation. Now this consolidation will be dependent towards this fair value gap right there. Let me just keep it there. So this would be our buy setup or short buy setup, or ultimately get a run, and then that will mean gold keeps selling all the way towards those lows. Yeah, there you have it. Silver would respond the same, because commodity do relate. There wasn't a time when silver responded different from gold. They would usually just respond the same. It's just that strength usually varies. Then I'm gonna go lastly through my indices and Bitcoin to see if I have any setups. Yeah, so I would have a setup. I would love to see a setup on Dow Jones, only because now we have this swing low. Okay, let me explain the story from this chart. So from this chart, we see the following. We see this fair value gap. Yeah, this was last week, Friday, the upper week Friday. Beautiful response from the fair value gap, leaving a week behind. Yeah, perfect. Now, Monday starts with this hammer candle right here, the one that I'm marking now. I just let it go so that you can see it. Good. Okay, so we have that hammer candle right there. That means price swept the previous low, Friday's low, and then closed beautifully. This was a good indication for some of you that, oh, maybe the Dow Jones would buy. That didn't happen. The buy was short-lived because it went and entered into this bearish fair value gap right here, which we talked about. So short-lived buy into the fair value gap and a beautiful sell all the way back towards this low. Perfect setup. Enough to pay some people's school fees. You understand? So what is my idea? Now we have this low that I marked right now as your key low of focus. Now you would think, Simon, we have a short distance between this low and this green low right there. It's still good, because remember, this is the daily time frame. If I zoom out, if I zoom lower, I definitely see a good bearish setup between those 2 points, and I'll take them. So this is also a trade that I'd love to keep an eye on at this point in time, because now in the 15-minute, this is what we see. From that response from the bearish fair value gap coming at the end of Friday, we're seeing a failure of this fair value gap right here. By failure, I mean price came in, bounced from this fair value gap right there, failed to push it up as intended, and now it's pushing lower. So now in the 15-minute, I'll only wait for a break from these lows, and then I know it's on. I'm sailing all the way towards this point. See, now the distance is huge. Could get enough to pay my school fees. Sorry about the school fees joke. Yeah. So that will be it. Actually, there isn't much to talk about from Bitcoin's perspective or Ethereum's perspective. I'm trying to stay somewhat distant from this because I don't like the consolidation. Understand? It's not giving. So I just keep away from this, even though we see a failing bearish fair value gap from Bitcoin. So maybe we would get price up all the way to this point, and then initially there's a lot happening in global politics, eco-politics. So it's not safe for the crypto world, to be honest. I'll just stay aware. Just stick to Forex and commodities, probably indices, stocks. Yep. So conclusively, that's it. Thank you for staying for all this time. I actually hope to see you in the middle of the week. I have something good prepared. I'll just introduce it. It's obviously about fair value gaps. And I'll just be doing a deep dive on fair value gaps, the different kinds of fair value gaps there are and what to look at, how to take them. A whole beautiful video just about fair value gaps. And then, maybe next I'll talk about swing lows and how to use them, swing highs, how to use them, just to cement the point on how to, trade my setups. And then from then on, I'll introduce a few other topics that are good, especially on the risk management side and trading psychology. It was lovely having you listen to my weekly forecast. I hope that this will become beneficial for you, and you'll get money from this. Hopefully enough to pay your school fees. All right, this was good. Thank you so much. See you on the next one.